The history of Madras may be recorded from 1639, but the toilet history of this city is not that old. In fact, we have no idea how the British relieved themselves, or for that matter, the Indians, till at least the 19th century. It can just be assumed that all of them disported themselves in the wide open spaces. It is in 1820 that we first come across a record that Parry and Company had imported a water closet and sold it to Binney and Company for a cost of 20 pagodas. This had a mahogany casing, but apparently did not have any water supply. In effect, it must have been a commode, which would have been cleared by manual labor later. A couple of years later, we read that pumps were installed on this water closet, and after that, it is just not heard of. It is then in 1860 that we come across the subject of toilets once again, and we get to read that there were 160 public latrines under the Conservancy Department of the Corporation of Madras. It was noted, however, that these were hardly used, people preferring the wide open spaces. The introduction of flushed latrines in houses came early in the 1900s, but even then it had very little effect. Mahatma Gandhi, arriving in Madras on March 7, 1925, addressed the Council of the Corporation and said, "I am not a stranger to Madras. I have lived off and on several occasions in this city, sufficiently long to enable me to study and understand the sanitation of this city. And it has always grieved me whenever I have walked through your streets early in the morning to see them disfigured. I cannot help remarking upon the condition of your streets, because I think that more than any other city of India, the streets of Madras are the most disfigured, even by grown-up elderly men. It was a sight to which I must confess I was unused before I came here, and often did I feel like taking a broom myself and cleaning up every nook and corner through which I passed." Unquote. The number of public toilets was just 33 in 1942, of which 15 had been constructed only that year. But even earlier, there was a spirited campaign on the part of the Madras Corporation to get people to install toilets in their own houses. This met with stiff resistance, most of the people claiming that they did not have the money to install the toilets. The corporation then had to embark on a subsidy scheme where it installed the toilets at its own cost, beginning with the most crowded area of Chindadripet, and by 1933 could claim that it had installed them in most of the houses in that particular area, with people having to repay the cost in easy annual installments. The number of public toilets went up a little in the 1940s, with some of them being of significant architectural merit. The one on the Esplanade was said to be a marvel. It features in harmony with the more ambitious buildings in the neighborhood. Within 5 years, however, the neighborhood was not in harmony over the toilet, complaining furiously over the stench. It was the same everywhere else. Between poor maintenance and general reluctance to use them, the toilets made no impact. The corporation in the 1940s went ahead with yet another campaign. It sought the help of the police, and a patrol van used to round up the offenders in the morning hours, and this continued till 1954. The number of toilets rose to 403 in 1967, and 10 years later, the number of public conveniences was still 475 and 52 urinals. Even today, there are just around 900 public toilets in the entire city of Madras, that is Chennai.